this exercise is going to be a great way to learn how to actively pull yourself in a stretch, which can be awesome for warm-ups, for getting ready to stretch, for just building some more control, and then for also building some strength in your hip rotator muscles. I'm gonna show you in the 90-90 position. However, this is a progressed and advanced position. If you don't have the mobility to be here, you might need a yoga block to lift your hip up. You might need another yoga block under your knee, or you might need a completely different position. So once you are in the 90-90 position, we wanna make sure we don't have any hip pinching. From here, we're going to sit up and sit tall rather than kind of sitting back on the sit bone. So I want you to kind of roll your pelvis forward and up and make your spine really long here. Now, the more easy way to do this is going to be using your hands for a little bit of support. Now, what we want to think about doing is actively thinking that we are trying to lift this leg, but we are actually going to imagine that it's glued on the ground. And so as we think about lifting the leg, we are actually pulling ourselves into a nice, deep hip rotation stretch. So you should feel this in your deep glute on that leg. As you pull yourself forward, you're feeling all of these muscles contract to kind of pull yourself deep into that stretch. What a lot of people do when they see this movement is just kind of fall into the movement. That is using gravity to help you, and that's actually just moving through your spine. I want you to think about leading with your belt buckle and your pelvis. As you're pulling yourself forwards, you're kind of lifting your tailbone behind you and reaching it for the back wall. So you're staying long through your spine, pulling yourself into that nice deep stretch over 3 to 5 seconds. You can pause here, or you can immediately push into the ground to push yourself back up. So on the way back up, you are using these hip muscles to get you back to the start position. Now, if you want to make it more challenging, you can use no arm support. Pull yourself into that deep glute stretch, push yourself back up. If you want to make it even more challenging, you can put your hands over your head and do the same thing. And if you want to make it even more challenging, we can go straight arms, or we can add a small weight here. So those are the ways to progress it over time. We want to make sure, again, we're not feeling any pinching in front of the hip. That is a closing angle pain. We don't want to push into that. But after doing a few reps of these glutes should feel nice and warm, and you should build a lot of awareness in your movement, which will help you actively learn how to find a stretch, which is really important because stretching is not just a passive skill. It is something that has to be done actively and takes a lot of practice. So usually when I do these, I will program a set of 3 to 5 just to start. But if we're using this as a training tool, as an actual strength training program, we will eventually progress to multiple sets with a weight and things like that. So obviously, if this is in your program, do what your program says and slowly make sure you're progressively overloading over time.